Now, how do you respond to the argument that we're not cavemen anymore? We don't live like them. It's not cold when we sleep. We don't live in caves. We don't see saber-toothed tigers. So why should we actually bother to eat that way?
Well, I think it's a valid question, first of all. I mean, I actually find myself agreeing with certain aspects of a lot of the most recent paleo critiques, like Marlene Zuk's paleo fantasy. The problem is, I think the critiques often are a little bit oversimplified, and they throw the baby out with the bathwater. So one example would be the idea that there was no paleo diet because everybody, there was such a huge variation in what our paleo ancestors ate. So the concept of a paleo diet is silly because there was no one diet. Well, okay, that's true. There was a tremendous variation in what people ate, but what we also know absolutely what they weren't eating. They weren't eating cheese doodles and drinking big gulps and, having eating like all kinds of processed and fried foods and cooked in industrial seed oils. We know that without a doubt. So I think, it is important to tell people when you're talking about a paleo approach that there is a lot of variation in what humans can tolerate within the template of a basic paleo diet, but it doesn't invalidate the entire concept just because there was a lot of variation in what people ate. Likewise, you'll often hear the idea that our ancestors died when they were 30, so why would we want to emulate their diet and lifestyle? That's just crazy. And it is true that average lifespan was 30 years old, but that doesn't take into account the challenges that our ancestors faced that we're not facing today, like very high rates of infant mortality, trauma, violence, exposure to the elements, etc. And if you take like a hypothetical group of 10 people and 3 of them die in in childbirth or infancy, another 3 or 4 die during their teenage or childhood or teenage years, maybe one gets eaten by a lion, a few others die in some kind of tribal warfare or exposure to the elements, and 3 live until they're 80, the average lifespan of that group of 10 people is going to be really low, 25 years old or something, but that doesn't really paint the whole picture. So I think the best way to think of the paleo concept is as a starting place, as that we know that we're well adapted to that lifestyle and to that diet. And we can use that as a jumping off point to create our own ideal diet and lifestyle. But this is not about recreation, as others have said before me. It doesn't mean you have to sleep outside in the backyard and run around in a loincloth.